Good day. I'm your host, Sonal Fool. Welcome to our community's second episode. Uh, Today we have Michelle and Kelly with us. Before we go further, we would like to acknowledge we are on Treaty 6 land. We are in Edmonton. Edmonton is located within Treaty 6 territory within the Métis homeland and Métis Nation of Alberta Region 4. We acknowledge this land as the traditional territory of many First Nations. As we gather here today, we acknowledge we are on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of Métis. We pay our respect to the First Nations, Métis ancestors who of this place and reform our relationship with them. This is a Pride Month. We always talk about, this is a normal terminology we use, LGBTQ++. But what each acronym stand for? So in our first episode, we talked to we brought on three wonderful community members who talked about the drag queen and made us aware of what the drag queens are, drag kings are, and the society and the community, how they treated, how they came out. Today we have Kelly with us. Kelly is professional financial advisor. Last time he corrected me, he's not an advisor. He's creating a wealth for the people which also include the estate planning, their future retirement planning.
I like to consider myself a holistic wealth practitioner.
So we have Kelly with us, who is a financial advisor. I treat him not as a financial advisor. He has a vast knowledge of finances, which include the estate planning, your future planning, retirement, and everything. And then we have Michelle with us. She is also professional. She had her business before in IT. Now she is working as a holistic therapist, which include massage and other services. Before we proceed further, I just want to acknowledge, thank you, Kelly. You are a transgender and you have come out in the community. Before we go further, could you explain what transgender means? What the terminology means?
That's a really good question. So transgender, my point of view, if you want to Google it, that's something different probably. But transgender is just you identify as a different gender than how you were born. So being born female, I always just had more male tendencies. I always just felt more masculine. I was called a tomboy, but that still didn't fit right. So just for me, I've always been male.
Fantastic. So if I asked you, I'm sorry if if I didn't mean to offend anyone. The transgender means who have gone through surgery, or?
It would be more who identify as a different gender or even not a gender.
No, fantastic. So Michelle, now you're husband and wife. You, Kali, are husband and wife. So if I ask you a question, and don't take me wrong, I'm sorry, because it's just this questions what we are asking is for more awareness for the community who have not understanding or who have no experience. So thank you for even taking a time to come and talk to us. When we talk about heterosexual couple and a transgender couple, what difference will be, how you will explain?
I'm not your typical person for one thing, I don't like labels. That's just, I'm just telling you that because that's the way I've always been. I was in a heterosexual relationship, and I'm going to use labels here for everyone because people are comfortable with that. But if someone asks me if I'm in a heterosexual relationship right now, I say, yes, it would seem that because Kelly sees himself as male, being transgender. So when Kelly wasn't transgender, we were in a relationship as two women, and we would have been in a lesbian relationship. So for me, being with someone that's transgender, I feel like I'm in a heterosexual relationship. It doesn't feel any different from when I was married to my ex-husband, who I have a child with. So I've always seen Kelly more male. Kelly's always been a better male. Fell in love with, for me, I'm going to bring another label in here, and this is going to a little bit of an explanation. There's, I don't know if you've been versed in the label of pansexual. A pansexual person is someone who doesn't necessarily love one gender or one race. You love the person, like the soul of the person. It doesn't matter what their outside body is, their anatomy. It's just the spirit, the soul of the person that you fall in love with. And that's sort of how Kelly and I have been. Like, I said to Kelly when he wanted to transition, I said, I will support you. I will love you. I will be with you through all of this. I will not leave you. To me, regardless of what Kelly decides to do with his body, I will still love him regardless. I don't know if that kind of answers your question. I'm not your typical, because I was in a same-sex relationship for many years. And then Kelly said, I'm going to go through this transition. So people see us now as a heterosexual couple. If no one knew Kelly was transgender, they would just see Kelly as my husband. And I call him my husband. Before, I used to call him my partner. Yeah.
No,
so,
Michelle, I 100% agree with you. Why we need a labeling, why we need to know who you are. You both are a wonderful person. Kelly, I know him personally as a friend, as a professional. Why we need a labeling? But I think the society we live in, they always label. I had a mentor before who said, why we have to use our titles. Now we are talking about 20 years back. He said, why we need a titles, why we have to post Mr., Mrs., doctor, principal, headmaster, all those title. We can't just stay with, say, Kelly, Michelle, Sunil, with the first names and be more equal. I think that was my first journey or openness or acceptance to everyone is equal, whoever you are, without the title, without the label or anything. Mm-hmm. But thank you for acknowledging, right? But we have to see what society we live in, and we are trying for a better society. We are trying to change for a betterment. Kelly, Michelle, any of you can answer this question. When we talk about the LGBT community or in professionalism, it's always we talk about the community members. We never talk about the people surrounded by them, right? Like, because your parents have expectations from you. Your brother, sister has expectations. And they also part of the community also. So when we talk about they have accepted you, they have accepted who you are because they love you, they care about you. But sometimes they feel sarcasm from the other part or the other community members. What you want to say, how was your journey and how did parents reacted or how they were accepted by the community? Not you, but the parents and sibling.
For me, being gay wasn't really well known. I didn't even know what that meant. So for me, around that, so my parents, it's not that it was frowned upon, but it was not necessarily talked about. So I didn't feel comfortable coming out to my parents, and they had a hard time. They had a hard time. They will probably not go to a pride parade or anything like that. However, my parents are very supportive in the event of they just want me to be happy. They want me to be happy and they want me to be safe. I think they were more worried about seeing things on the news and things like that, if you come out gay, or do not accept it. So they were just more fearful for me. But I've honestly never had a problem at work. I've never really had a problem anywhere in a way that I've never been forceful with who I am. I'm just being me, authentic. And if people ask me, I'll answer the questions. But at the same time, I let kind of people assume whatever they want until I need to correct it. If that makes sense.
100% agree. We have to correct them. We have to live. We cannot just accept what they are saying. We have to change. And if we don't correct, we will never be able to change anyone. Michelle, how was your journey, or your people around you, like your parents, your siblings, co-worker?
Well, I did it in my first marriage. I left my marriage. I decided to not be married anymore. I loved my husband, but I wasn't in love with him anymore. And we had a child together, and I needed to be into a relationship for years with someone, female. And I didn't really feel comfortable in that at times. I kind of felt forced into a label, like, you need to be a lesbian. I said, no, I think it might just be about one person, right? It might just be this one person. And then I went back to my marriage for a year, and again, I realized, no, maybe it's not. And then, I don't know, it's just kind of, no, just a sec. I'm getting that mixed up. Sorry. No, I left my marriage for a year to figure things out. And then I came back into my marriage for a year. And then I was in a relationship for 5 years. Sorry. It's so long ago. It's just, yeah, sorry.
But how has your family been?
But my family, my dad had a hard time with it. Because he was in politics, he supported me, kind of like Kelly, but he kind of kept it on the down low. It was kind of like private. You don't want this to get out, right? Like him being in politics, I don't think he wanted everyone knowing that his daughter was with a woman, As far as my mom goes, my mom was excited for me. She was happy. She would say, oh my goodness, Michelle, I watched a show on television about this transgender, to hear about it. Is this what Kelly's going through? And my mom would say, I'm so sorry. I keep saying she all the time when I talk to you about Kelly. And I said, it's okay. I always say she. I mix up too. I sometimes say she, even today. So my siblings have all been really supportive. My son, my ex-husband was shocked, but when I decided, to stay with Kelly and everything. And he was just kind of like, wow. So I said, well, it's about the person. And I learned a lot through it. So I think the people in my life have been really supportive. I haven't had any, I'd say maybe 2 of my friends have disappeared because they felt uncomfortable, but I see that as they weren't friends to begin with. So it's been really good. My journey's been good.
So the question now, when we are talking about the parents, like, parents, siblings, and the people, not us, we always talk about the support group for us, like, not us, like the community member, LGBTQ community member. But I'm talking about, are you aware, or would you tell us, is there any support group for the parents or siblings? Like, to how to deal when the kids have come out. I think they feel strong and they do an important role to support their child because they love, they care, but then they need some support too. They need some learning also because they don't know much about it. They don't feel comfortable to ask their children. Like if you know any groups which you would like to share with us or for our viewers, like, is there any group or a society or a organization where they can go to obtain knowledge, obtain awareness, and to
Oh,
deal with it?
definitely. There's a group called PFLAG, and that is mainly meant for someone or a group of people to talk to. Because one thing I realized is the siblings and the parents are going to go through a grieving process of the loss of for their child, their sibling. So for my parents, I could see that I'm not having children in a typical way with me, so they need a group to therapists through. And you're right, parents need someone to talk to because they need to go through, and not that they're losing a child, but they have literally lost what they thought of was going to happen. And then they get to now learn and accept and grow with kind of a new version, a happier version probably of their child. My parents are actually more supportive because I'm not trying to hide who I am. I'm not trying to, I talk more openly with my parents about myself. So PFLAG is an incredible group, and I believe it is like across Canada. A lot of parents can seek this group out. There's online meetup groups and things like that. Ask questions and find, doctors and support and things like that.
Michelle, what you will say?
So
I said, Michelle, do you have anything to add?
Not really. I mean, that is really the only support. Well, I mean, there is a Pride Center as well. People can go to the Pride Center and then they will give them the PFLAG information. There's a lot of support there that they, even coworkers that need to understand more. Lawyer, like I have this person in my office that came in as a man and now they came back from this long holiday and now they're a woman, and it's like, what do I do? How do I act? I don't know how to treat them or whatever. So the support is there for everyone and the partners as well. Like I've found it because I went through a grieving process as well. Kelly, like, wow, Kelly is someone else, like as the other gender. So it's really good support for everybody. Anybody that needs to know information on anything to do with LBGT plus, yeah.
My other question is, now you both are in a public service. You deal with not only one community, you deal with community, multiculturalism, right? That's the thing. Like you would deal with all races, religion, the parts of the community. You both are Caucasians. I'm again labeling. I'm terribly sorry, but have in your experience, if you have been in any other communities like South Asian community or any other community than Caucasian, the transition or the journey could have been different.
Well, in my office, our office is very multicultural. We've got people from Mexico City, Nigeria, Zimbabwe. I don't know how to fun for them, but because I feel that since I've had people say, are you changing your name? Because your name is actual in Canada, in our culture, it's male or female. And they're like, it's fascinating. If you keep an open mind wanting just to learn, then being froze.
I think my computer is freezing again.
Yeah.
You're back.
I'm back. I think it's the weather.
And frozen. Yeah, it's windy. It's too sunny.
Yeah.
So we are back
sunny
now.
for you, Sunny.
But we are back. So should we try again?
I gotta talk. Sure.
So let's just repeat the last, Kelly, and then we try to wrap up now.
Okay. Oh my gosh, what was the question? What did I say?
The question was basically like the multiculturalism, like in your community or in your office or workplace, if you have seen any other culture or who have gone through this journey and hardship or anything.
I definitely know of people who have come from different, like say African countries that have had to run from their countries because of fear of what could happen to them coming out. And they're now here in Canada and they're flourishing. They're truly being able to be themselves. I find within my office, we're very multicultural. We have, people from Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, Nigeria, Zimbabwe. But everybody's been very welcoming and open. I don't know if half of them even know that I am transgender or not, which it's not like I run around the office telling everybody, but I feel that I keep an open door to people who have questions. So I had someone say that, are you going to change your name because your name is actually feminine in our country? And I'm like, well, here it's not, it's masculine or feminine. So it was just learning on both ways. I find that if you're curious enough just to keep an open mind to learn, then there's less judgment. And I think there's less fear that way of just wanting to learn, but keeping it in a way of just learning about the person. Because my journey is going to be very different than the next transgender person. Mm. I feel that my journey has to be for me. Even just my hormone therapies are going to be different. My mental state's going to be very different. And the things that I do to help me along my journey can be very different from the next person.
Michelle, I have a very specific question for you as a mother, as a sister, as a wife, as a girlfriend, and as a friend, as a daughter. If you have to give a message to every mother or any mother who is coming out or their children is coming out, what would you like to say in their support to get the encouragement, to get the empowerment?
Honestly, loving them for who they are, just wanting them to be true to themselves and supporting them along that journey. And they haven't.
Don't rush it.
Yeah. Don't rush it. Like just, I'll use an example. Someone I know came out to us when they were 12 years old and said, I'm gay. And we had both said, you know what? You might prefer the company of boys right now, but keep in mind that you're very young and that can change. So don't label yourself at this time and just be gentle with yourself and honor that you have these feelings, and that's okay to have these feelings, and they might change. And whatever those feelings are, I will be here to support you along the way. And that we need to support our children and allow them to be who they want to be. And your love doesn't change at all. Like my mom doesn't love me any less. She actually loves me more because I'm being true to myself. And seeing your child be true to themselves is so important. And yeah, like it would break my heart if my own child couldn't come to me to tell me, you know, and I just want to say that, to be open, to have the discussion, to sit and just listen and not judge, because judging is where you get caught up in things, right? And work it out. It might take some time, and there's a lot of support out there, and just get the support that you need. And there's other parents going through the same thing. I have 2 clients who have transgender children, and more of my clients, it seems, and they need people to talk to. And so I have resources for them. Kelly and I love to connect. You know, I'll always make sure that that person has someone to talk to, that they have a support system. And Kelly's also willing to talk to these people too. You know, my clients' children, if they feel comfortable, a safe space. So yes, it's important to keep an open mind.
No, I agree with you. And Michelle and Kelly, thank you for coming out. And I really appreciate when you said, you know, it's no use of labeling. We don't need to label. We don't have to provide a title. We need a safe place for anyone and everyone around us. Everyone, whatever the sexual orientation they have, or the religion they belong to, or the color or ethnicity, could be veteran, could be could be medically challenged. Anyone and everyone need a safe atmosphere and environment to prosper, to achieve the goals they need or they have aimed for. In last 2 minutes, like the last quick seconds, because we will be running out of time, what message would you like to give to the community to support and to be acceptable, to create a safe environment?
I think for all of us is just being open-minded, to be accepting of one another, everybody. I do find that sometimes we're fighting for rights in one area, but we forget about other things. And I know we have come so far, so far. And all I can say is Pride Month is about being proud of who you are and where we've come from, and the journeys that everyone's going through right now, and to give each other grace. Just, it's about love. It's about love of one another and love for self, and who cares who's sleeping with who? Well, unless you're, it's, it's just love one another, and just be curious about how to help each other and how to get to know each other. And I think once we start doing that, the walls come down.
Michelle, would you like to say in a few words?
I don't think I have anything else to add. I think Kelly kind of wrapped it up there. Yeah, I think it's, being proud of who you are, that's what pride is, and loving yourself unconditionally and loving everyone around you and accepting everyone for who they are, loving them unconditionally. No judgment, just loving them as a human. If you get their gender wrong, sorry. Next time I'll get it right, but just understanding that sometimes people will mess up, they might misgender you, and they don't mean to. We're only human, right?
And, I agree with you. We are human. We are human because we love peace. We love humanity. We are proud of each other. When on the same token, what Kelly said, where we have responsibility, we have rights, we have obligations too. We cannot just say my way, or a highway. Whoever we are, if we want to be accepted, we won't have to accept other people as they are too. If we want a love, we have to give love also. And I agree, whomever you are sleeping with, if you are happy and the other person you are sleeping, your spouse, your friend, if they both you are happy, I have no right to say anything. But and remember, it's a role where you have obligation, you have a right also. Thank you guys for taking your time to come forward and talk about your experience with us and giving a feedback to our community, the community member who have the same challenges and they're going through. Thanks a lot. I appreciate. I'm your host, Sonal Fold. You are watching our community show. This was a second show which we presented, which was related again, dedicated to Pride Month, but featuring transgender and the family and the acceptance. We are bringing more shows on the women in power, women in politics, and the discrimination between the community also. Thank you. Keep watching our show. Please like our YouTubes and subscribe so we can bring you more informative episodes. Thank you. Have a good day.